Dr. Stan's going to kind of update his story a little bit and then tell our new people what on earth are we talking about.
Well, guys, I'm excited to kind of share an update. We've been with LifeWave over 4 years now. We just celebrated our fourth anniversary, technically in December, and we were skeptics, to say the least. I've been doing health and wellness for about 35 years now, seriously. We got interested in it long before that, after Jody's father passed away of liver pancreatic cancer. She kind of began our health journey because she was like, am I going to get, liver pancreatic cancer? We started making some lifestyle choices as she was working through her little crisis of life during that time. But when I was pastoring my first church, I was dealing, obviously, if you know anything about churches, I was dealing with sickness and disease and death all the time. I was going to hospitals, nursing homes, doing funerals, holding people's hands when they died. And I was in my 30s at the time, and I had um, really some bad allergies. I used to get spring allergies real bad, fall allergies, bronchitis in the fall, tonsillitis in the winter. I had trouble with my weight in my 30s. I was 50 plus pounds over. I could hardly go up and down the church. I'd lose my wind. I'm an active preacher, so I could lose my wind pretty easy back in that day. And so I started asking God, I said, man, we got to have some answers here. I said, I need to start feeling better. And I said, everybody around me is, is sick and tired and going through all these things. So I started asking, God for answers. And our first stage in our 30s was doing something as simple as changing our lifestyle. So that's what we did. Jody overcame some health challenges, nothing that was life-threatening, but eventually it would turn into something life-threatening if you didn't change something. So we changed our lifestyle. Fast forward to our 60s, we started to experience some different aches and pains and some simple challenges in life, which why this technology is so important, because we're going to talk about our technology in the X39 and how it activates our master cells, which are the only cells in the body that can replicate, duplicate, and rejuvenate the body, which is why when we're in our 20s or even in our 30s, we can overcome things, and recover. Like when we're a kid, we can fall down, get up, and seems like the next day everything's healed. And I always like to use the illustration of football players. By the time they get into their 20s, they're doing real well. And then in the 30s, they start calling them old because at age 30, they start to get hurt easier. It takes longer for them, where they could heal in 6 months, it's taken 12 months. That's part of life because those master cells are probably right around 50% dormant in the body. So like with me, by the time we made some good changes in our lifestyle, and like Ed was talking about, man, I was back outside riding my bike, out running my kids, going out in the woods, and we were in a real rural area. We used to take the mountain bikes out, and it was just fun to feel younger, and be in better shape. Well, in our 60s, we started to have a few, I call them pings and dings, because by the time you're 60, your master cells are going almost completely dormant, depending on your lifestyle. So, just the lifestyle by itself just wasn't doing it anymore. So when we were approached with this technology, at first we were a little bit skeptical, and our good friend that we had known for many years, Alicia, had tried the product. Many of y'all have heard her testimony. It got our attention, so we decided to give it a spin. And we started within the first couple of weeks, we noticed the typical things: more energy, We were both sleeping better, feeling better. We were pretty active at the time. We weren't full time with our LifeWave business yet, so we were both working every day and working this business, burning the candle at both ends. And so we noticed that we were having more energy and more vitality. And it's kind of like Ed, all of a sudden, we're feeling younger and feeling more energetic. And Jody had had some carpal tunnel issues, and she started seeing improvements fairly quick. And I was dealing with a couple of things. The main thing why I wanted to try the technology was my blood pressure had started ticking up, which is normal for people in their 60s. They expect blood pressure to elevate. And so that's what was happening. And after 2 weeks, I have my little blood pressure monitor over here, check my blood pressure, and it dropped 20 points in 2 weeks. It got my attention. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Is it the patches doing this stuff? And then in about 3 weeks, I checked it again, and it had dropped 30 points back into what they call the normal range. So at that point, I was like, okay, there must be something to this technology. And because, my blood pressure dropped. And of course, I went and did my yearly, I'll be 68 this month. Actually, we're on March 17th, and I'll be turning 68 years old. So I've been on Medicare for about 3 years. And we didn't know the first couple of years we could get these free checkups, but long story short, my blood pressure has remained in that normal range ever since we started using the technology. It's the only thing I changed, so it's the only thing I can attribute it to, that's for sure. But then over the course of that year, Jody noticed my hair was starting to get darker, which was kind of cool. I started basically um, losing inches, I guess is the best word for it, because I didn't lose a lot of weight until about the sixth, seventh month. And then at about a year, I did drop weight, but I dropped 3 pant sizes at the same time because I guess I was just getting inflammation out of the body, which was causing shrinkage in the right places, so to speak. And it's my face, my hands. I was wearing rings that I haven't wore, in a couple of years, which was really nice. So I always tell people stick with the patching because there's a compounding effect if you keep patching. So I just kept patching, patching, patching. So when I went to the doctor for that yearly checkup, I dropped 3 pant sizes, I lost weight, and that really makes the doctors happy. They're like, "Wow, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Must be doing." As far as that goes, but my everything was getting younger. I was like, well, this is exciting. This is some great technology. I'm all sign me up for getting younger and feeling younger and being able to get active and do things, and sure enough, that's what we needed at age 60 was some master cell activation with our X39 master cell activation patch. And it was interesting after about 3 years of patching, I still was taking care of myself. Um, my hair started to get gray again, and I'm like, well, I guess it's just, I'm almost 68 years old, so gosh, I guess, my hair's just going to get gray. Can't stop getting, we're not going to stop aging, but we sure can slow it down and have a better quality of aging with the technology. But then they came out with Celergize, and I started doing my scoops of Celergize. I always say a scoop a day keeps the doctor away now, because when I started adding Celergize, and I don't have time to go down through all the ingredients. You can do that little research for yourself. But Celergize was basically invented by David Smith, our inventor, our founder, to complement, boost, amplify, and accentuate what X39 and all the rest of the patches are doing with herbs and different things, that minerals that have been clinically proven to actually help support GHK copper peptide production in the body and support stem cell in the body, which is pretty cool. When you put X39 and Celergize together, we can actually tell people and be totally compliant and say these two products together will elevate your GHK copper peptide and support some stem cell activity in the body. And that's so important. After about 3 years of patching, go to the doctor. This past week, blood pressure still dropped. All my numbers are good. Everything is in just where they're supposed to be. Especially, they say for 68 years old, you're doing great as far as that goes. But I don't want to do average. I want to do above average. So I'm always going to keep working and doing things to improve myself as far as that goes. But I would encourage people. Our flagship product is X39. This is what Ed uses, what I've used. This is our master cell activation patch. This is what we encourage people to put on their body every day. I'll use it for the rest of my life. Now, the technology is very simple. Our inventor, a little over 20 years ago, had been doing research actually in stem cells in a company in Ireland, I believe. And he was an inventor who was working with the Navy SEALs, the United States Navy mini sub program. And he was developing motors, batteries, and systems to help improve and help the Navy SEALs. And this is where our technology that he began to study was basically a biological thing called photobiomodulation. That's a big word. It's a fancy word. But we know that our bodies emit far infrared light heat energy. And so our inventor, David, he's just this guy. He goes to bed and God just downloads this technology into his brain and he wakes up and starts inventing. It's pretty cool. But anyway, he knew that our bodies were emanating this infrared light heat energy. And he began to think, if we got all this light emanating from our body, it was like we can start using that light heat energy and bounce it back into the body and really have what I call true renewable energy. And so he created the patch. And the patch is basically a band-aid. And as most band-aids, in the center, they have a cloth. But with ours, it's a nanocrystal. And you might say, well, I don't know if that sounds kind of weird. It's a nanocrystal is basically it's made up, let's put it this way, it's made up of organic minerals, salts, sugars, structured water, amino acids to form a crystal. And the crystal lattice, as it's called, is implanted in the middle of the band-aid. And then you get up in the morning, you take that band-aid, the patch, you put it on your body and you wear it for 12 hours a day. After 12 hours, you take it off, discard it, put it on the next day. Well, what's it doing? Well, what that lattice is doing is absorbing the far infrared light heat energy of our body into that crystal lattice and then reflects that light back at a certain frequency that basically wakes up those master cells in the body. It tells those cells to start waking up, duplicating, replicating, and start to rejuvenate the body. So we're not just basically putting a band-aid on the problem. We're actually encouraging the body to heal itself naturally through this technology. The patch is non-transdermal. Nothing goes into the body except your own light. And there's nothing to worry about because there's nothing being absorbed, so it won't interfere with medications and things like that. And so it's designed, as I said, to be worn 12 hours a day, taken off, discard. You wake up the next day and put it on, and it starts to start resetting all the cells and systems of your body by activating those master cells and getting them to start acting like they did when you were younger. That's why you've seen Ed, he's got a whole new lease on life. He's out there hunting and gunning and running with the kids and that's what happened to me, and that's what I have an old saying, and this is what I believe we can offer you is I don't want to die with a diaper on. I want to die with my boots on. And I've had loved ones die with their diapers on, not judging, condemning, but why not have the go? I like to think of myself of going up on the mountain like Moses did and Abraham, and just dying natural causes at a ripe old age. That's what the technology affords you to be able to do. It's safe, it's affordable, it's non-transdermal, so you don't have to worry about anything going into your body. We are literally harnessing the power of your body's own life source energy to get the results that you have heard about tonight. Now, what's the next step? You need to get back in touch with the person who shared this video with you. They must love you. They must care about you, or else they just let you die with all your aches and pains. So somebody really cares about you. So you need to get back in touch with them. And you need to say, how can I find this technology? They'll hook you up with more information. We've got videos. We got all kinds of things that we can send you if you have more questions. They can tell you how to get the best prices. We've got all kinds of wonderful programs to keep it not only safe, but affordable. And what we would like for you to do, like our friend Ed did, let's get this patch on your body. Let's see what happens. And maybe you can come back on one of our podcasts and tell us about how this technology has changed your life.
Thank you for watching. And to learn more about this amazing technology, please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.